was asked by somebody to make a short explainer video of the way I set up my meth. So I'll start in the back. Basically on this side I have my tank. I made a custom bracket that bolts down there and over there, then just bolts to each other here, bent the bracket, and it's bolted onto the four corners of the tank. So under here is where I have my meth tank, or my meth pump. What I did is I cut a piece of the liner there so that the pump would fit. And I lift this here. You can see the line comes down this way into the pump. I had to get a right angle fitting there so I wouldn't kink the hose, and it comes out of this side and it goes over in that direction there, and that goes to the wiring front. So excuse the car, it's very messy right now. Back here all I did was squeeze the wire down through here. I did lift up this panel to slide it underneath, and then just fed the wire straight through across. And this would be the wiring and the line for the fluid, for the meth fluid. Again, same thing, lifted this up here, ran it over that way, ran it across, and let me see if I can get a shot of that rubber boot there. Excuse this wire here. So through that rubber grommet there is where I passed the meth line, and that was actually it, because the wires came up to here, and with an addifuse, that is where I'm getting power for the meth controller. And ground is, if you reach through the inside of here, you can pop this panel off here, and there is going to be the frame to the dashboard is metallic, and that is bolted onto the body. So there's a small little 10mm bolt there you can back out, and then you can put in a little fitting behind it, screw it back in, and that gives you ground. From there, because I have the Snow Performance Stage 2 kit, I passed the wires up through behind the dashboard. I don't know if you can see them through there. This vent pops off, so I just popped this vent off. I had to make a little bit of a hole, or widen up a hole that's here between one of the vents to pass the wires through, and then I loosely mounted it there. That's going to change, but that's where that sits. Now coming on the front, so the meth hose comes out through, if I can see it through here, you can kind of see down in there. Let me zoom in. So that's the other side of that grommet I just showed you a minute ago. One of those is the meth line. So meth line comes around, and what I did is I removed this panel, and then that allowed me to loosen up this top piece here, and I slid that line across underneath that covering. Comes over to this side, fed it this way, and normally there's a rubber piece that goes here, and it's meant to keep it uniform over to that side. But I just cut a hole through it originally, ran the hose through there, and then the hose comes over this way, and I tapped my charge pipe to put in the meth nozzle. They do sell a kit where you can tap into the coupler. I'm not sure how long that will last being there, but I mean, I guess it lasts good enough. And then eventually, I know there's a spacer in the works that will sit between here and the throttle body and the intake manifold, and there you can feed in your meth line. You can also use that for vacuum source. So while I'm up here, let me run backwards, and I teed off on the charge pipe right down there. So that tee comes over this way, and then it's kind of hard to see there, but that black line and blue line are one line, so that goes into there, becomes a black line, and it goes over that way. So that's your vacuum source for your controller. And what I did is I ran the vacuum source, same thing, back underneath that cover, over and across into the passenger car compartment, through that grommet, up through the other side, and that actually needs to be fed to the controller, but that's where it goes. So that's pretty much it. Minimal wiring. It took me a little bit of time, just being careful with removing the panels, so I didn't want to damage anything, because I literally did that the first day or two of having the car. It was a brand new car, didn't want to mess with it too well. No, I wanted to mess with it, but didn't want to damage anything. But it wasn't too difficult. If you've done it before, you can do it. Harbor Freight sells some nylon interior panel removing tools. They're just some pry bars that are made out of nylon, so it won't scratch the plastic as easily. But that is it. Main thing is down there, that's where you pass it through. Underneath the covering there, and over across to this side, and that is where my meth nozzle is. Now, somebody asked about a fuel pressure sensor, because I guess the stage 3 kit from Snow Performance has something where you can hook up to that. Basically, this is going to be your fuel pressure sensor. Sorry about that. So that is your fuel pressure sensor, I believe. One of those wires are the ones you're going to want to tap into right there. Which one, I'm not sure. You're going to have to try to figure that one out on your own, unfortunately. But that would be it. And not sure if there was any other questions that needed to be answered, but that kind of gives you a quick overrun, a quick view. Not an install guide, just an overview on how I ran my system. It works for me. This does have a little bit of play in it, but that allows me to tilt the can forward so I can fill it. But it's not too bad. Rigid enough that it holds in place. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, ask away. Here to help. That's it.